Good day and welcome to Business Aviation Week 2020. As part of this special week, the Aviation Week Network is featuring daily web interviews with top leaders in business aviation. So thank you for joining us. I'm Molly McMillin. Today, I am delighted to welcome David Coleal, President of Bombardier Aviation. So thanks for being with us, David. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Molly. It's great to be here.
Thank you. So, the pandemic is on everyone's mind, and how has this affected you? How are you finding the market today? We're kind of 6 months into this now.
Yeah, thanks, Molly. It's a great question that we get all the time. First, I just want to thank you for letting me be here. Also, just wish everybody well and hope they're safe during this time frame. First, I'd just like to say how proud I am of our Bombardier Aviation teams, their continued dedication during the past year. Like everybody, we proactively had to implement protocols to support the health and safety of our teams, our customers, as they continue to work through these challenging times in order to meet commitments to our customers. So I'd like to reiterate how proud I am of them. We're going through an exceptional period right now. The industry's felt the effects of the pandemic, which the business aviation market being impacted probably, as we've heard, around 30%. In response, we've all had to realign our production, and the industry overall has done the same thing. To your question, it's really hard to speculate in the near term what's going to happen because it's really early into the pandemic. You hear the things potentially about a vaccine coming. But I think with that said, when talking about the recovery, what's different here than in previous downturns is we haven't seen the wave of cancellation. Customers are still taking delivery of their aircraft. Pre-owned inventory levels are very healthy. And this is different than in 2008 and 2015. We also at Bombardier Aviation have a really diverse portfolio of products, and we are seeing continued interest, and our backlog is solid. And it's true that we've seen a slow pace in market activity in the last 6 months, but we're also seeing some encouraging trends. One promising trend is that the business jet traffic is recovering at a much faster pace than commercial aviation. And we're really encouraged to be seeing that business utilization rates are starting to levels that we saw kind of before the pandemic hit, about 70 to 75% pre-pandemic levels. And that's largely due to the fact the pandemic, in a way, has transformed what people are looking for in air travel. Business aviation offers a safe and efficient way to travel during these difficult times. And more people are realizing the appeal of private air travel because it lets them be in control of how and when they fly. And I think it's leading more people to try private that we're normally flying a lot of commercial on an annual basis. And really at the entry level point. And that's a positive sign that we're seeing more interest in charter flights and jet card programs. But again, the fact that we're seeing an uptick in more people flying at the entry level doesn't necessarily mean that that'll translate into more aircraft orders immediately. There's typically a lag, from kind of when you see, some of the trends emerging and order intake. So we'll have to kind of wait to see if that translates into a positive trend as we move into 21 and even 22. And for us, because we have such a strong portfolio that covers light, medium, and large category, I think it really positions Bombardier Aviation well as the market recovers. Different customers have different needs for travel. And when you have a strong portfolio like we do, it covers the short domestic flights, and we have aircraft that can handle the long international flights for both personal and business. And I think that better positions us as the market recovers. And so right now, certainly because of the restriction caused by the pandemic, we're seeing more of our customers staying close to home or flying domestic for travel. And so while we're seeing more customers using their aircraft for personal domestic travel, I still think there's an opportunity for business travel to eventually come back from an international perspective. And utilization can be higher, but we need to keep monitoring the trends for now. So hands down, I think we have the best portfolio. And if more people are looking to enter the market, and because they don't want to fly commercial anymore, we have the Learjet Liberty, the Challenger aircraft are a great fit, and our global family for long range is just incredible. And then, kind of wrapping up the question, I think aftermarket support becomes so important. And from that perspective, our service centers have been full during this entire time. They've stayed open, they've stayed busy. We've implemented the same protocols there that we have in our factory to keep our customers and our employees safe. And we're continuing to invest in our aftermarket growth opportunities. So, very challenging times, but I think we're managing our way through it, and I think we're at the right level right now as far as our volumes. And we're just continuing to monitor and optimistic that, as hopefully we can understand this pandemic issue, potential vaccine in the future, that we can be poised for a recovery.
It sounds like long-range jets in general have been impacted the most, but your Challenger 350s have been kind of going gangbusters in the charter market. What segments do you think have taken the biggest hit and then also been the most popular?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. In general, as I mentioned, the market's down by overall 30%. The distribution is generally, it's not exactly even, but I can't say that, this is going to actually affect one segment specifically more than another for some long duration. There could be some short-term impacts, but I can't say that I'm seeing anything that I feel is going to be a concern for any segment long-term overall. That's why it's important to have a broad portfolio in times like this. We can offer a variety of products that for every customer need. As I said, we're seeing a trend of more people, getting into entry level through charter and jet cards. And if that translates into more light jets orders, I think that's going to have to be wait to be seen, but it's encouraging. From a speed, cost, performance, the Learjet Liberty is best in class. But as you mentioned, for both cabin size, range, performance, the Challenger 350 and 650 are phenomenal aircraft. The Challenger 350 has been especially successful as we've continued to evolve the aircraft over the last 2 years and solidify its market-leading status. And of course, the Global family is redefining the industry. Their largest cabin, best-in-class range offers customers safe and efficient ways to travel to more cities around the world nonstop. So just to continue to reiterate, broad portfolio I think is really important during this time because customers may not know exactly what their travel needs are, so they're going to try to pick the product that fits their needs during this time frame as they desire to want to travel privately more often. So I think it's really important to have brands that are recognizable, dependable, and stand out. It's very important. And again, it continues to extend to our service operations. So having service network that's international around the world, it can serve the four corners of the earth, I think is very important because, during this time frame, you want to be able to access yourself to all customers around the world and not just necessarily domestic and so forth.
This week would have been the big National Business Aviation Association conference and exhibition in Orlando, and of course that's not happening. What would have been your message there, David, and what are you doing, I guess, to recognize this unusual time?
Yeah, Molly, these are really unprecedented times. I can't recall when we've gone this long without an opportunity for this to gather as an industry. We're very a collective group, and we do like to get together very often. But with that said, I think it's forced all of us to be very progressive in our approach of how we reach out to customers. And what I'm very excited about is we're introducing a virtual event to showcase our industry-leading portfolio of aircraft. Our customers can receive personalized virtual visits of our business jets in the comfort of their own homes. We're also debuting virtual showrooms on our website for a virtual self-guided tour of all our aircraft, as well as complimentary interactive tools. So I encourage everyone watching to go to our website, take a look at these exciting features and initiatives that the team is putting in place. It's really the best way to get up close to our aircraft when you can't be there in person. And now had we been together at MBAA, we would have focused on some really important product milestones. Our Learjet Liberty is getting ready to enter into service in this past summer. We were very excited by the entry into service of our Global 5500, as well as the first US-based delivery of that aircraft to one of our long-standing customers. And we're also excited about the second year of production of our Global 75 ramp up, and it's going incredibly well. The response from customers is overwhelmingly positive, and we couldn't be happier with the success of the Global 7500 and how well it's being received in the whole industry. The performance of the Global 7500 has been incredible, and we're also immensely proud that it's the first and only business jet to have received what's called an Environmental Product Declaration, or EPD. So as we think about the sustainability of our planet, this is incredibly important because it's the first in the industry. The EPD provides a carbon footprint of a product like the Global 7500 from its design phase through operations when the product's in service and ready to be retired. The EPD is very important to us because it further exemplifies our commitment to sustainability, and it's yet another example of Bombardier's stewardship of how we're leading the way forward. So I think it's going to be an example of how customers are going to expect all products in the future to be designed is to have an EPD. And if you think about it, when you're out there buying other products, you can't look at it and say, well, what's the impact of this product on the environment? So this is the first time ever you can look at the Global 7500 and understand from design through manufacturing, operations, and retirement, the total impact, and what we've done to actually minimize the impact on the environment through this EPD framework. So we're very excited about that, to kind of be leading the industry in kind of another evolutionary way on sustainability.
Well, and you have taken the lead on sustainability, and I know recently you were part of a sustainability summit. Are you encouraged by what you're seeing in the steps, going forward? And can you talk a little bit about where we're at with that?
Yeah, I was very excited and encouraged, and I think the Sustainability Summit was a culmination of not only OEMs and operators and even our legislative bodies. It was very exciting because everybody's talking the same language now. Everybody understands the importance of sustainable aviation fuel and what we need to do to kind of continue to communicate to the world that we are actually leading the way. One thing I think is very important is I don't think you can look at a lot of other industries and see that we have measurable goals that are defining, 2% improvement in fuel efficiency by 2020, carbon neutral by 2020, and a 50% reduction by 2050. And we measure ourselves on an annual basis. So to me, it's a very progressive industry that's actually out there with these goals and objectives and are actually talking about progress to a plan. You hear lots of people want to talk about the environment, but this is concrete action. So I think that that's important because we become such an easy target when people want to talk about, the impact of the environment. But I think we're one of the few industries that has such a comprehensive approach that are really going to benefit this planet through the technology and what we're doing to kind of bring the whole industry together. So to me, it's very exciting. Plus, we've doubled the use of SAF from 19 into 20. And, the FAA endorsed our second user guide, which is great. We had members of Congress there talking about the impact and importance that this has on the sustainability movement. So to me, I think we got great momentum, and I'm just super proud to be able to lead the GAM Environmental Committee to kind of bring this forth, front and center on the world stage.
What remains, what remains your biggest challenge in that arena? Is it getting enough product out, or what is the biggest hurdle now?
Yeah, I think if you look at the four pillars, technology, all the OEMs were doing it. We're spending billions of dollars creating more fuel efficient aircraft that can operate more effectively. The operation and infrastructures is coming along like ADS-B, so we're getting a more modernized network so aircraft can be spaced closer together. You can have direct approaches and direct departures so you minimize fuel burn. We're looking at carbon offsets and book and claim opportunities in the short term. And as we mentioned, the biggest thing is the availability of SAF. If you could get SAF in all the aircraft that are out there right now, you'd have an immediate impact. So there's a little bit of a lag. I think the good thing is all aircraft are drop-in ready and they can accept SAF based on the ASTM standard, so that's not an issue. But it's basically a little bit of the chicken and the egg. So a lot of refineries are actually starting to produce it in more volume. You have a lot of the OEMs that have it on our field. So we have it up in Montreal and in our Bradley Service Center. So we're buying it like other OEMs are doing it, making sure that we put it in aircraft for delivery and departure. So now what we have to do is just get more of it and have it become more commonplace. I think there's still some education awareness around operators that, they're hesitant to put it in the tanks, but I think we're getting over that. And the next step is just to get higher volume of SAF, both for business aviation and commercial aviation. And once we do that, I think we're off to the races, and you'll see that we can clearly meet our objective by 2050.
Well, I think we're getting to the end of our time. Is there anything that you'd like to say before we, close?
No, I just want to, obviously thank our Bombardier Aviation teams again. When you look at kind of, how all businesses had to operate with the protective equipment, the shift staggering to kind of keep people safe, the social distancing, the work from home, it's kind of just shown me the resilience that we all have and the commitment and passion we have to our industry. Even though we're not able to get together as much, I'm still very optimistic about what this industry can hold for the future. The technology it brings, the high-paying jobs, the sustainability for our planet. So to me, it's an amazing industry, and we look forward to kind of this pandemic at some point subsiding and kind of getting back to hopefully more normal. I don't know if there ever be a normal, but I think we're learning how to deal with it. And I think business aviation can be a shining spot when it comes to personal safety and travel, and still be, you know, a great gem in our world for, you know, showcasing technology and talent.
Well, that's all the time we have. And I want to thank David. Thank you, David, for joining us today. And thank you all for attending. For other interviews this week with other business aviation executives, please check them out at aviationweek.com/bizav2020. Thanks again.